Welcome to Make It Make Sense, the show where we take the chaos of the world and we actually make it make sense. Welcome back to the Make It Make Sense podcast with Jay and Tank, where I'm your host, Jay. Tank is not here on this set, but he will be for the future sets. And as promised, this is the podcast of the year, of the new year. So I told y'all we was going to bring back some dope things, some great conversations. We was going to come back with a vengeance. So here we are. Today, we got an exciting topic to discuss, and one that people don't like to touch on at all, and that's life after divorce. So I get asked a lot of times, because I get along with my ex-spouse, how do we do that, and why? And why are y'all not married then if you can get along, and all kinds of questions. So we're going to discuss that. I have all the people in the room that means a lot, and is the reason why we're here today and why we're able to get along as former or ex-spouses. I just want to say this, that I've learned on my journey is that being a warrior isn't always about fighting. Sometimes it's about having the strength to choose peace. So I asked Rod, which is my ex, and I'll introduce everybody here in a moment, if he agreed to sit in the room, sit down together and get real personal about about our past and how we decided to be where we're at today and make peace from having a divorce. I want to introduce y'all to the most important people in the room. And some couldn't be here. I'm missing two children of the household, which is my son and my AKA sister, also / daughter, because she was raised in a household. So they couldn't be here, but they will be joining us online. You will hear them by voice, okay? We realize that our story of friendship after divorce isn't about us, it's about them. They are why behind every choice that Rod and I made to keep the peace and make it make sense. As a mom, I've always tried to lead with resilience, but I've learned that the greatest thing I can teach my children isn't how to avoid a storm, but how to rebuild after one. So we are all in this room today to show that family doesn't have to look traditional, okay? To be healthy, whole, and full of love. In the room, we have Rod, my ex-husband. We have Shamar, my oldest son, and we have his fiance, Eva. She's going to speak from an outside looking in experience. And then on the phone, we have my baby son, Rodney. And DeAndre couldn't be present, but I do have his reply back to the questions that I'm going to ask. And then we have Rachelle on the line. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the questions. And we're going to let y'all know how we get along and how you can get along in a situation of ending any type of relationship. Doesn't have to be a divorce. It could be just a best friend relationship. It could be any type of relationship. So I want to get started. Rod, yes. What was the hardest ego moment you had to let go of so that you could actually start being friends again? So that we could actually start being friends again. And why do you think we are at this point today?
The hardest thing for me, well, let's go to the divorce. Well, that was very hard for me. I took it hard. I went through a period where I hated women, and
oh gosh.
yeah, I was just doing them wrong and everything. But eventually, I can't keep hating women, and I got tired of being lonely. So I said I need to put that hate away. And plus, I was raised, not to hate people. So I was like, nah, I can't go around like that. It didn't look good on me. I like to help people, and I'm gonna try to be a good person all the time. So that was my hardest thing, just divorce and getting over that. Once I got over that hump of, hating women, and of course I hated her at that time. But
you made the choice.
Yeah.
But I just wanna say, y'all, this is unscripted. This is how I want my podcast to be. So I don't want to be perfect. It's unscripted. Nobody knew what I was gonna say or any questions that was gonna ask. So this is all just coming from the mental. So I want everyone to feel safe. My kids, I want y'all to, be honest. You don't have to sugarcoat nothing, even if you think it might hurt us. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, once I got over that hump, I said we can be mature for the kids. So we don't need to show them that we are immature, or we walk around holding grudges or hating somebody. So for the family, we became mature, and we dealt with each other. We had cookouts, whatever, gatherings together. If whatever happened, we came together and done it with no issues.
So I also want to say this too, because when we was doing our divorce or going through our separation, we actually sat down like mature grown adults, did we not?
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed what we need to discuss as far as what we're gonna do, who's gonna do what, who's gonna get what, do this and then. And then if there was something that we disagreed upon on, we said, well, we'll go home, we'll sleep on it, and we'll come back, revisit it, and we'll try to make a happy medium out of the decision.
Yeah.
So
because I had everything written down in a notebook.
Yeah, he did.
Even when we went to the court, we discussed everything. The judge was like, "Oh, y'all seem like y'all got everything together. This is an easy one." So it was,
Yeah, we did a very simple divorce.
Yeah.
It was easy. I mean, because we sat down and talked about it. It was nothing. And then even after, I thought it was crazy because he asked me to go out to have a drink with him after the divorce. And I was thinking like, man, you just divorced me. And you really asking me to go out for a drink? Are you serious? But I did. I took the offer up. We did. We went to go celebrate our divorce. Like some people may have a divorce celebration. We did ours together. But for me to answer that question, and I think we both are on the same page, it was realizing being a great co-parent was more important than holding a grudge. And I think, well, no, I know this. It was because of the kids. That was my main concern. And I noticed in a lot of relationships with kids involved, you can't possibly care about your kids if you don't think about how this could impact them. Because a divorce can impact them. Breaking up with your kid's mother or father can impact them. So in my mind, I knew the day was going to come that we were going to get a divorce. And so we actually sat down with our kids and had that discussion, which is going to lead into my question for the kids, for y'all. And so it was just important. My kids meant the world to me. And I didn't want them to experience. Now, I had a mother and father. They was married, but it was a lot of it was not a good environment. But
bumpy road.
It was a bumpy road for my parents, and I just noticed. I know that I didn't want to incorporate some of the things that I learned from my parents that were bad into my own parenting and being a parent. So when I knew this divorce was going to take place, I wanted to make sure that if nothing else, me and Rod can get along to make this transition easy for them, for the kids. And it happened, it worked, and I'm grateful for that because I didn't want to hurt them no more than what we did by dividing up the family. So that's the most important thing, I think, in relationships. People often forget about the kids. Everybody's being selfish, and y'all hear it for yourself. We didn't pre-discuss this or anything, and he said it was for the family's sake. I said it was for the family's sake. So we had two people that really cared about our kids and what we how we was a role model for them. Mm-hmm. So one more question. Looking back at our journey to this table today, what is the one thing you're proud of us for achieving as a team, even though we aren't a couple anymore? And we might have just answered that.
Just instilling in the kids, the best we could, the best life that we could give them. Try to make sure they finish school or just be good people. Just have a good heart. Made them go to church. Yeah, so I know I probably was a hard dad because that's all I knew. I was, hey, you mess up or do bad, you get the rod. So yeah, I was hard, but for the grandkids, I'm easy. Like, well, because they say, well, you want to let us do that. But with grandkids, it's different. But
we didn't have grandkids back then either, though.
Well, I'm just saying.
But now, yes, I get what you're saying because it makes it easier too in front of the grandkids. Like they don't know that Papa and Glammy was an item. They just see us as Papa and Glammy. They didn't see what their parents saw, the divorce, and went through all of that. So we're able to, like Rod say, we can go to cookouts that we're invited to by our children and for our grandkids' birthdays or special occasions without not being able to stand being in the same room as some people can't stand to be in the same room with one another. So we can do that. We can invite people over. Invite our whoever, if we're dating at that particular time. I like for us to be all together. Bring your girlfriend, bring whoever, whatever, and let them know. I think it's very important when you start a new relationship, if you're gonna have a relationship, if you're aiming to have a relationship like we have, it's important to be up and honest up front in the new relationship, to let them know that, hey, me and my ex-spouse, we are good, we get along for our family's sake, and a lot of times people say, well, your kids are grown, you don't have to talk to them, but it's not like we talk every day or we hang out or anything like that. We just are there for our kids, our family's sake. That's just what we do.
And I do want to say that, sometimes when you're raising your kids, you think they ain't getting it. They don't understand. But I do appreciate, I remember going back, or I remember even like Rachel or all of them saying that they appreciate what they learned from me and their mom, how we brought them up.
You stepping into what they need to ask.
Oh.
But it's okay.
No,
it's
okay.
okay.
We still got
No, I
Yeah.
I don't want you to take away from what they may have to say, but yeah, that is true. So those are just some key things that I say if you're trying to start a new relationship, you need to let that other person know what's going on. It's just good to be honest. Also build that trust with that new person that you're trying to build a relationship with, to let them know that there's nothing sneaky going on with your ex-spouse. We don't call each other in the middle of the night or nothing, or disrespect each other when we're in relationships, in our own individual lives and relationships. Now, this is going to probably be another topic for another day, because, well, the men don't, in my own personal dating experience, they like, that's kind of shady at first, until they get to actually see. And then I know for you, the women just ain't going for it. They just be like,
they don't understand.
They don't understand because this is the norm. This is what I'm trying to do, y'all. We are trying to break the cycle, the traditional way, where everybody is angry, upset. You think the voice got to be nasty. You gotta just. That's not how it needs to be, and especially if you have kids. Do you really care about your kids if? Do you really care about your kids if you're going to have a lot of chaos? That's the thing you need to think about, because, like I said, everybody always forget the kids. So speaking of the kids, now I'm going to shift gears a little bit and let you guys talk. I did have questions. Let me see. The questions that I have, but I want to start with DeAndre, because DeAndre is not present, you guys. He's not on the phone either, but I was able to ask him questions. So I'm going to start with his first. Then I'm going to start from the oldest to the youngest. How's that sound? Great. So the question was for you guys. Can you recall the day Dad and I sat down with y'all to discuss our departing ways? What was that moment like for you? Did it impact you in any way? He said, I think the news of your separation was easy for me. It's not like I saw it coming, but I did realize changes over the years leading to. I do remember having thoughts of what would happen to me and my brothers. Would we be split and grow apart, or if we'd still be close? And then I asked another question, but I'll get back to that. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to start with Shamar. Do you need me to repeat that?
No. So I was lost. I could have kind of seen it coming if I was thinking about it, hard, but I was being a kid, so I was staying in my lane. And don't cut me off. And I was focused on, school and what y'all want me to do after school. But when I got the message from you two, I was like, okay. I was sad. I was, like, dang, what could I have done to do to make it work? But the whole time it wasn't my fault, or it wasn't
absolutely
none of the brothers' faults, or
right. I do want to say, because you brought up a good point when you said you stayed in a kid place and you was caught off guard, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I want to add this to everyone that's watching. Rod and I, never argued in front of our kids. Y'all heard what Shamar said. He was caught off guard because there was no arguments between us in our home. We had disagreements, but it didn't escalate. If we had disagreements that required us to not be in a household with her, we would either go for a ride, go for a walk, wait till the kids go to sleep, or something in that nature. So that's something that I want you guys, it's very important to understand when you're getting to help you get through a divorce. The kids stay out of the grown folks' business, and we never involved our kids in our business. So that's why they was caught off guard. So here's another question. Let me go to Rodney. I'm sorry, Rachel. So can you recall the day And Rachel is my baby sister, y'all. I was an only child for 13 years, and then I had my baby sister. I ended up raising her, so she grew up in the household, helping me with the boys and everything. So you sometimes I'll refer to her as my daughter or whatever. Sometimes y'all might see us or what she calls me sister mom or whatever. But Rachel, can you recall the day? And I believe you were actually in college. I don't think you were in that conversation that when we all sat down in the bedroom and had the conversation with the boys. But can you recall the day you was informed about our separation divorce? What was that moment like for you, and did it impact you in any way?
So to confirm, yes, I was in college at the time. No, I was not a part of the family discussion that y'all had, but you did talk to me like prior to the conversation and let me know how you felt and whatnot about everything. Um, you also, I mean, just gave you some like sisterly advice or whatever, and let you know because you were holding on for the kids, and I just let you know that needed to do what made you happy, that we would all be all right because at that point we were like all at a age where we understood or we knew kind of something was going on, as DeAndre said, in the background.
Okay. Rodney, can you recall what that day was like?
Yeah, hear me?
Yes.
I can't recall it. I feel like that time was just a void that I just washed down. But I don't recall the day we all met, but I just remember being like, I didn't understand it when y'all were divorcing. I just didn't understand it, and I just felt like what had happened because of everything that just happened. How things were going, we just didn't see it coming, and I still don't understand it to this day. But I just appreciated the relationship y'all kept and y'all still being parents to us. So, but yeah, I don't really remember the day, the year, nothing.
I get it because when you go through I don't want to say trauma, but it is like a trauma.
Yes,
You do kind of block out the important dates, and you just don't want to think about that because it was bad. So I get it if you don't remember what we said or the date or any of that. I get it. For the record, Rod and I, we've been divorced for how many years? 2017.
Oh, okay.
June 17th, 2017. So that is what 9 years. So yeah, so we've been divorced for 9 years. With that being said, like I said, when you've been traumatized by something and to get over it, you kind of suppress it. You did that. So I get it. And to our friends, like, we never discuss, I never discussed to, like, even in my closest friends. So we really we blindsided everybody. Everybody was like confused, like, what the heck? Because we really kept it personal, our business, and grown. It's just, it wasn't for nobody to know what you go through as a husband and wife. Because then people start picking sides. So that's another topic for another day. But we just, for the longest, I recall we were running to people separate, and they be still asking, how your wife doing or how your husband doing? And we would just say, oh, they're doing fine. We wouldn't even let them know we divorced unless we wanted somebody to know that we were divorced. We just said, oh, he's doing fine, whatever. And we kept on going about our business. So I'm going to transition over to another question, and I'm going to go back to reading DeAndre's question. During the transition of our divorce, what was the one thing mom and dad did or stayed consistent with made you feel like everything was still going to be okay? And DeAndre said, during the transition, I think the one thing that stayed the same was you all's attention to us. They never changed. That was his feedback. Shamar?
Okay. It's basically the same thing. The the way y'all treated us never changed, never switched up. No one was angry towards us as far as you and Dad, and y'all were both like involved with whatever we had going. Like if we had some questions about anything or needed some help on things in life in general, especially like birthdays and Christmas and all that stuff, we all still participated in reunions.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like y'all were very involved, still are very involved.
Rachel. Well,
Sorry, I'm on
it's
delay.
it's
but,
okay, and this may not be for you, but I mean you can still answer it.
What was that question? One more time.
During the transition of our divorce, what was the one thing mom and dad did, or brother and sister did, or stayed consistent with that made you feel like everything was still going to be okay? I think everybody's gonna probably have the same answer, but
Family time.
the family time.
Yeah.
Hmm. And I just have to say, I was raised.
Or family values, rather, but yeah.
Yep, we were raised. My dad instilled in us family values. Family matters. It didn't matter what. I went through a phase. We went through our phase with our mother, and there was a time, and that's for another story, another day too. But I wanted to be resentful, and my dad would always say, "That's still your mother, regardless." But he was the family man. Rest in peace. Ray Phelps was the family man, so he instilled that in us. Rodney, what would you say during the
Yeah, I'm just saying that the support in the family time, I mean, that stayed the same.
Absolutely. Now, looking at how well we interact now, what was the experience taught you all about forgiveness, or about how people can still care for each other even when their relationship changes?
I could relate it to what I have went through in like my adult life. So
How is that? I mean, what do you mean? In your own relationship?
in my own relationship, been through some hard times, but we got over it, and it's to realize it is about the kids if you want everything to go smoothly. Because if it ain't about the kids, it's gonna go rough. But if you really care about your kids, it should go smoothly.
I'll read DeAndre's last. Ray Shell. Looking at how well we interact now, what has this experience taught you about forgiveness, or about how people can still care for each other even when the relationship changes?
Plead the fifth.
Okay.
I mean, it taught me about forgiveness. Like somebody said in the beginning, still don't all the way understand it, but it's not really for me to understand. As long as everybody is happy, it like don't bring no type of unbalance to us, and it's like the flow just really been going. So I really don't put much thought in it to it. I'm just grateful that we were able to just keep the values and the foundation that we did instill. But I guess at the same time, it just taught us, okay, yeah, to forgive. But I don't know. It's still kind of weird and cringe. I told y'all that. Yeah.
Rodney.
And the question was, what has it taught us?
Right.
Our relationship?
Looking at how we interact now, what has this experience taught y'all about forgiveness, or about how people can still care for each other even when the relationship changes? Now, before I give you a chance to answer, let me just say this. This may not work. This is our situation. This may not work for everybody. Everybody don't always have kids. Exactly. So, but hopefully there's a message behind this, even though you don't have to have kids to learn to forgive. And you definitely don't have to be best buds with your ex or whatever. But when you exit, remember in the beginning, I did say this could help anybody for a relationship, whether it's with a girlfriend, boyfriend, or whomever, husband, friends, whatever, to help you mend that relationship.
And to add to that, if you're gonna split up, don't treat that person bad. Don't treat them like they was never nothing in your life, or they was, a burden to you, because at one point you did love that person.
Exactly.
And you had a heart and feelings for that person, and vice versa.
That is so very true. Absolutely. You would never hear me, or you never heard, our kids have never heard us downplay on each other. Never. So I'm sorry, Rodney, we did interrupt you. You go ahead. Probably forgot the question now, huh?
Nah, I don't think it ain't really teach me nothing. It's just, I guess I understood it, like how things can happen. It's just another experience that y'all have. I know it can't be the same for others, because it just can't. Like, everybody has their own personalities, their own ways of doing things. So y'all relationship is unique, and it may not work for other people. But as far as me and my relationships, I don't hold grudges against nobody, because I'm just understanding. But I can see how I can end up being friends with a former partner.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ray Jill said, it's cringe. And the love is still there, the relationship is still there, and that's what people think about. Like, how can you be friends with your ex when y'all went through all that? And yeah, so
Yeah.
I understand it, just probably won't do it.
Right. I understand. And I think, again, I feel like, I don't know. I always ask myself, would we be this close if we didn't have kids? Probably not. I mean, there would be no reason to, but we would still have, I wouldn't change nothing. The way it went smooth. I wouldn't change the process, but it would be no need to still continue to contact, or whatever. So, but let me get to DeAndre's, what he said on that. He said, look at how you and dad interact now had taught me that people can grow apart for whatever reasons, but they can still be cordial. It's also taught me to be okay with that fact. So that was from DeAndre. So with that being said, those are all the questions that I had. I hope so far y'all have enjoyed this segment. Make it make sense, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have feedback. I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna have to have a part 2, because I know people struggle. I see this in my own inner circle where people struggle, and I just be like, why are you so angry? That's the question that I have for people when you're going through what makes you so bitter? Why are you angry? Why are you so mad? Why do you hold that grudge? That's a question to ask yourself. And I chose peace. I choose peace. I want peace. I've been through so much in life. I think during that time we had so much going on. My mom was diagnosed with cancer. It was just a lot. And we had our baby boy, was the last one in the household. We get ready to go off to college, so it was like emptiness. All the other ones done gone, started their own lives. And so it was like, it only made sense. We had to make it make sense. So that's the reason why I chose peace for us, for our family, because I love my family. And I wanted you guys to be able to deal with it differently than most kids have to deal with a divorce or separation or what have you. Are we good on time? I do want Eva to speak, which is my daughter-in-law, to soon to be daughter-in-law, on her take as being my son's lady. And what was your thoughts like you knew that his parents were separated, right? I'm sure.
I think when we first started dating, you guys were still married. I think so, right?
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are still married.
Okay, so you've been through the transition
Yeah, I've
with
been
us.
with you
Also,
guys. It's okay. Coming from a family of divorce that went bad, my parents still to this day, I have nervous breakdowns of like where they're gonna sit at events if one is coming. It just gives me a lot of anxiety compared to the side of his family. I don't have to worry about that with you guys. I think it's a great example. But you guys were still married. I didn't even know you had divorced. That's I didn't even know. I don't think you told me. I don't know. We just ended up at your new apartment, and that was it. I didn't ask any questions. I was like, okay, all right, this is the new. So I didn't even know you guys had divorced either.
Kensington Village.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
But I think it's great. I think it's a good example. So yeah,
Yeah, that shows that people don't
Thank you.
understand.
it doesn't. Like, I went through it with my family, so I'm glad he didn't have to do that with you guys.
I've seen a lot of it going on. And like I said, my parents never divorced or anything, but it was a lot of chaos going on in the household. And I just was like, I want to handle this differently than how my parents handled it, or our peers or people that was in our circle. They had nasty divorces, like nasty. I didn't want that. I didn't want that for us. So it's important. Like I said, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about a situation where me and you came together to help Rodney move to Atlanta. I had a previous girlfriend that did not understand, and I was on the phone with her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But she kept bringing it up. How you gonna go on a trip with your ex-wife? I'm like, I'm not going on a trip with my ex-wife. I'm going to help my son move. She every time she talked about it, it was like, you was traveling with your. I said, I ain't going on a trip. It was about my son. She just didn't understand.
And that means she wasn't in the plan.
I mean,
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's hard for some people to understand, but it's possible. Just be mature about it.
and when we get in individual relationships or whatever, we, he's aware, I'm aware. Like I said, there's no disrespect to whomever is in his life or, whatever. I'm always going to be upfront with whomever I'm deciding that I want, that I may talk to, let them know that I have that relationship, because if he was to call my phone or something like that, I'm going to answer because I have nothing to hide. So I can talk to that individual. I can talk to him in front of whomever I'm with. If it's not important, I'll get back with you. But I just feel like a lot of times people mess up by not being, not being truthful. You don't hide that. Like, because like I said,
Honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
Let them know. There's gonna be guys at first that feel like, for me, they like I said, that's some shady. I don't know. But then towards the mid of my relationship, like, they be like asking, like when I moved one time, I was in another relationship and we split up, went our separate ways or whatever. And the guy asked me, like, you want to call him to help us move or whatever? And they did. And I'm like, oh, now you want me to call him. So here I had my ex-husband helping me move and my ex-boyfriend that I was living with at the time helping me move. So they understood, it's important to make it make sense for everyone. So I thank y'all, each and every last one of y'all. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to be a part 2 This was very good. I thank you, Eva, because you are what I wanted to display. I wanted to use this as an example, and I'm glad. I'm sorry you had to go through what you had to go through with your parents, but I'm glad I was able to use this on this podcast because it happens every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And the whole point of it is your kids. If you have kids, make it make sense. Make it work out the best way you can so you don't affect the kids, because it still affect them in their adulthood. Y'all heard what she said.
Absolutely.
They have baby showers and stuff and different events. She got to figure out where the parents gonna sit at so they won't clash or ruin the whole event. That's nonsense to me. But like I said, it may not work for everybody. It may not work for everybody. But you have to figure out what's wrong and why you're upset to begin with. Why are you really so angry? Do you want peace? We always say we want, my peace is this, my peace is that. You have to choose your peace. You are responsible for your own peace. And I wanted to make sure my divorce was peaceful. And I wanted to make sure we made an example. And I think we've done great. I think, we have. I'm just glad. I'm just grateful. I couldn't ask for a better outcome of it all, even though it was a divorce. Nothing good out of a divorce, but we did have some good things that happened to
teach the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank you. With that being said, I'm going to conclude this segment of the podcast. I thank everyone. Welcome back to Make It Make Sense, where I'm the host, Jay. You guys have been great, and I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Make It Make Sense podcast show with your girl, Jay. If you're feeling the vibe, do me a huge favor. Tap that subscribe to the show, hit that notification bell, and share this with one person who needs to hear it. Growth is the goal, and we're doing it together. Connect with me directly on Instagram and TikTok. I want to hear your thoughts on today's topic. Also, it's time for our Make It Make Sense mailbag. This is where I take your situations, the stuff that has you scratching your head, and I break it down. Whether relationship, the hustle, or just some nonsense you saw online, I'm going to put it on the clock and we're going to make it make sense together. Hit me in my DMs or email me at tank.and.j.podcast@gmail.com. Also, this will be in the link. Keeping the logic loud, this is Jay signing off. Peace out.